important stuff. If you're getting universal credit or certain benefits, find out more and apply at mygov.scot/Scottish Child Payment, or call us free on 0800 182 2222.
Join us for the 21st edition of the Glasgow Film Festival from the 26th of February to the 9th of March, with world premieres, Q&As with world-class filmmakers, and a packed industry programme of talks and panels. Screenings include Neon Dreaming, Ebony and Ivory, I Do Not Come to You by Chance, Meet, and a visit from Glasgow's own James McAvoy. Tickets are on sale now through the Glasgow Film Festival website or by calling our box office.
You are listening to Jambo Radio. You can now download the Jambo Radio mobile app on your smartphone from the App Store, Google Store, or Play Store. You can now use our Jambo Radio app on your smart mobile phone or device to contact us and also send us your song request. Now it's time for our weekly magazine show, the BB African Magazine.
Hello everybody, this is Bibi. Welcome back to BB's African News Magazine show on Jambo Radio, the show that focuses on all things positive coming from the Scottish African diaspora and the African continent at large. I'm your host, Benny Briggs McKinley, as always, BB, and we're going to have a great show today. Everybody's here. We're all ready to go. Baron is here. Kim is here. We're all ready to go. So, is this the first show of the year, Baron, for us?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so Happy New Year, everybody. Listen, we're going to have a wonderful time today. You know what to do. You can always call us to join us. If you have opinions, if you have comments, if you have questions, queries, and anything we talk about, you can call the number 0141 530 2787, 0141 530 2787. You can join us on Facebook Live, on YouTube Live. Just do what we say all the time. The three magic words, Jambo Radio in Scotland. Search those and you will find us. We're also available on DAB all over Glasgow and Edinburgh. So we are ready to start the show today. We have news, we have spotlights, we have history, we have everything you've come to love about the show, and we cannot wait to start. But before we do that, we've handed the reins to Baron today on everything music. I have zero idea what songs he's chosen, what songs he wants to play. So we're going to start with that. We're going to ease into the show a little bit with a song from Baron. I don't know what it is. Baron, what is it? Here you go.
Yeah, stuff to do, yeah, yeah. Oh, sha.
Good boy.
Easy na me, take it easy. Catch some cruise, my keys. You spoke one for the days. Come on for the body, no the breathe. Put on your shoe, make it stand at this. All your sorrow, make it dance them free. If you know be kalala, yeah. If you know be kalala, get it na poochie. One my joke, ijogo, yeah. You want my jojo, ijogo, yeah. When you my jogo, yeah. And if you know the girl like you get the poochie. Odupa, Oluwa, yeah. Joy is coming, Dupa, Oluwa, yeah. Joy is coming, only early in the morning, yeah. Odupa, Oluwa, yeah. Joy is coming, Dupa, Oluwa, yeah. Joy is coming, only early in the morning, yeah. Up on never, do what you wanna do. I want to be shining all day, yeah. Don't make that, don't make that. I want to live for the world, yeah. Easy na me, take it easy. Catch some cruise, my cheese. You spoke one for the days. Come on for the body, no the breathe. Put on your shoe, make it stand at this. All your sorrow, make it dance them free. If you know be kalala, yeah. If you know be kalala, get it them poochie. One man jogo, ijogo, yeah. What you want, my jojo, ijogo, yeah. When you my jogo, yeah. And if you know be kalala, get it them joy is coming. Only a little more. Yeah. Joy is coming. Joy is coming. Dupa, Olua, yeah. Joy is coming. Only a little more.
So, Baron, you're going to introduce the song. What song was that? What artist was that?
That was Fido, Joy is Coming.
Okay, that was Fido, Joyce coming.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to our first news story of the day. And this is, I would call it African news, world news. This is about the US aid freeze. Do you guys know anything about this going on? US aid. You know what US aid is?
Yeah.
Can we do anything about US aid?
No.
So we'll talk about the story. We'll talk about the story, and then we'll discuss it a little bit, okay? So immediately after the inauguration, the U.S. President Donald Trump and the head of Doge, Elon Musk, halted funding for all foreign assistance, creating chaos for staff and for humanitarian projects, charities, and governments around the world. Within hours of taking office last month, the U.S. president announced an immediate 90-day freeze on all U.S. foreign assistance, including over $40 billion for international projects coming from USAID. And USAID is a U.S. agency for international development, okay? The chaos was then exacerbated by what had begun to take place at all the USAID Washington offices. And by the 31st, yellow tape surrounded the Pennsylvania Avenue headquarters of the office, and members of the new Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, headed by billionaire Elon Musk, were inside the building. USAID's website has disappeared, and inside the building there were standoffs with staff over access to confidential data. And then this month, staff received an email telling them not to come to work after a weekend they had seen much of the agency dismantled, its servers removed, leadership and senior staff fired, and everything. Elon Musk wrote on X, the social media site he owns, "We spent the weekend feeding USAID into the wood chipper." Trump's new head of State Department, Marco Rubio, announced that he's now the administrator for USAID, the same day Trump told reporters that shutting down USAID should have been done a long time ago. Okay, the next day, the administration then said that nearly all 10,000 USAID employees were on leave, and 2/3 of the number who were working overseas will be recalled. Democratic Senator Chris Murphy said this is a constitutional crisis that the U.S. is in. This is the part that concerns us, because the sudden dismantling of USAID has sent shockwaves through 177 recipient countries. Critical supplies of medicine have been stopped abruptly. Children have been left without food. Health workers have been sacked as programs and treatment centers have been shut down, including those set up to tackle HIV in 50 countries. An HIV vaccine trial in South Africa has been cancelled, and efforts to eradicate polio, malaria, and tuberculosis have also been affected. So, USAID was founded by President John Kennedy in the middle of the Cold War in 1961. It was established to underpin the US's security and bolster its standing against the Soviet Union back then by providing aid to struggling countries and to respond to emergencies from famine to diseases such as polio and smallpox. Its responsibilities, budget, and independence have been fought over by Republicans and Democrats ever since, naturally, and the US reportedly provided 40% of all humanitarian aid accounted for by the UN in 2024, okay? One particular program, the PEPFAR initiative, that's the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, which was set up by President George Bush, has invested over $100 billion to tackle AIDS worldwide, and is often cited as one of the biggest health success stories of recent times. So Trump has been a long-time critic of overseas aid and has argued its spending is totally unexplainable and it doesn't fit his America First agenda. And Musk has falsely accused it of being a criminal organization that needs to die. Okay, the White House has published a list of USAID programs. It says that evidence of waste and abuse, but a lot of fact checkers have questioned much on the list. Stay with me, people. We're going to talk about this. Okay. In 2023, more than 40 billion, like I said, of the total 72 billion of US foreign aid was distributed by USAID. And the remainder was administered by the state government. And that year, the largest sector spend of all foreign aid was economic development, and went to Ukraine. Okay. Now, the legalities, legal challenges have already begun. A lot of people are suing against the executive order to stop USAID. And last week, a federal judge ordered the Trump administration to lift the funding freeze on USAID, citing the financial devastation caused to aid groups and suppliers. And in a separate ruling, another judge temporarily blocked the Trump administration from placing over 2,000 USAID employees on leave after hearing arguments that the administration lacked the authority to shut down an agency enshrined in congressional legislation. Okay, so let's talk. Byron, what do you think about all this that's going on? Do you think it's just this is just something he's wanted to do for a long time and he doesn't understand the intricacies and the actual intricacies that come from foreign aid and why the agency was set up in the first place? It's just he sees America first and he says, I'm going to stop everything that's not America first. What do you think about what's going on?
If he's decided to put his country first, who can blame him? Is his country, is their money. You can't really say. It should be, especially for they could use the money to help others, but you can't really tell them what to do with the money, especially for us, the African countries that some depend on US aid as well.
But if you look at the first 5 countries, okay, the first 5 countries that take aid from America, it's Israel, it's Ukraine, it's Jordan, it's Ethiopia. Ethiopia is one African country in the top 5, and I think it's Afghanistan. So that's the top 5 alone. There's only one African country in there. So USAID is over 170 countries get money from USAID. USAID was set up by John Kennedy, and it has been always supported by both parties. Yes, they fought about the amount of funding that goes out, but it's always been supported by both parties. America wants to be the big brother of the world. America wants to be the most powerful country in the world. America wants to have a say in everything. So why would they relinquish this particular responsibility that has been so successful over the years? We're talking about polio, we're talking about measles, we're talking about AIDS, we're talking about food programs around the world, which they've always supported. If they were pulling out for a reason, listen, we have to take care of our people, we don't have the money, we have to take care of our people first. I will respect that. But to say it's funding disinformation against the US, it is a criminal organization, they're pumping money, and people who are using the money gaining for themselves, that is such a tiny part of what USAID is. USAID is something that has programs all over the world and employees all over the world, and all kinds of NGOs and organizations around the world have been supported by it, and they've been success stories. People's health depends on it. So they're not pulling out, in my opinion, for the right reason. They're pulling out because they want to prove a point. They want to dismantle all the government, anything that has to do with liberal, woke, giving out, not America first. And then they're basing it on lies, misinformation. That's the part. Just tell the truth. It's not America first. We don't want to fund it. Fine, that's fair enough. But don't base it on lies. To me, does that change your opinion in any way, or you still think?
I do understand what you mean. Yeah. Just say we don't keep giving out free money, or free aid or whatever it is, but still they have to put themselves first. We don't know what's going on with them with finances as well. So, and again, you mentioned Ukraine as top 5. You mentioned Israel, Jordan,
Ethiopia and Afghanistan. Those are the top 5.
So, what are they really funding there? Are they like funding wars, or are they?
So they're funding. They're helping Ukraine. Well, go ahead. They're helping Ukraine bolster
are
themselves.
Funding wars? Are they helping people in war zones? All of that need to put into consideration, and then also there's this, I don't know if you know David Houdin is Nigerian. He's been doing some investigative journalism where he uncovered that some allegedly, because I don't know. I cannot prove this. So I mean, I can say allegedly. But for him, he can prove it. He's uncovered that some of the money from there gets to fund a bit of terrorism, in the sense that some of the just say like materials and food gets delivered to
terrorists.
Like,
Baron, that's normal in any giant conglomerate like this, any giant organization like this, any giant project and program like this. Certain things are going to fall through the cracks. Certain hands, bad actors are going to get their hands on things. This is normal. But the greater good that USA does around the world and has done for almost 70 years, you cannot just sideline it and say it's for funding crime and funding terrorism. These things have happened over the years. Anything at all, any government, even governments in each country, yes, we have ministries for this and that, but don't things fall through the cracks all the time? So it's not just, but you can't say USAID funds terrorism, funds criminal organizations. That's not the reason why. Let's not act in bad faith. That's not the reason why they froze it. They froze the aid and they dismantled the organization. That's not the reason why. They're doing it for their America First agenda to cater to their base who don't really know the intricacies of these programs. I'm not saying we should all depend on aid. I'm very pro-Africa, pro-stand on your own, pro the things we should be proud about, and we're not begging and all that. I'm very pro that. But certain programs have been put into place a very long time ago and have helped people for decades. And now without even, you're using it as a stick. So you want to rule the world, you want to be the boss, but you don't want to help. You can't rule over people and then not provide something at the same time,
that America is always great in movies, especially when it tends to save everyone.
But America has tried. Based just this program alone, they've tried. The reasons why they were set up in the first place were very good ones. Kimi, do you have any opinions on this at all?
I don't know much about politics, but yeah, I agree with you. Like, I think that's just crazy to just randomly just pull that out, and it's been there for ages with no excuse and no reason. I don't think that's
all false reasons.
Yeah.
Reasons,
Yeah.
Do you think? I'm not saying like Baron is saying that we shouldn't be dependent on aid, which is true. But certain programs, like for the ones for AIDS, the ones for polio, they've been set up and people need them and use them. Food programs in Sudan, Ethiopia, they need them. And if you're going to pull out, maybe give it some time, and stage it, not just overnight. Because Elon Musk's people who are not government officials went to the offices and went into the offices and fired everyone, locked everything, took over their servers. Like, who gave him the power to do that? I know who gave him the power to do that, but how is that even normal? This is not normal behavior. And we're letting it happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's weird. It's
extremely weird. Okay. Listeners, if you have a different opinion from us, please feel free to call and give us your opinion. We'd love to hear from you. You know what to do. Put your comments on YouTube Live, on Facebook Live, on the Jambo Radio page, or just call live. We'll listen to you right now on 0141 530 2787, 0141 530 2787. Thanking you, and we'll move on to the next story really soon. But before that, we're going to hear another song from Baron. And Baron, I need you to introduce this one.
Okay, so the next song is JJ by Diamond.
Okay, all right.
You know it?
No.
Come on.
Maybe I do. Who knows? Maybe I do.
It's Kelpie vibes.
Get down, hey.
Jaja, your body, Jaja. Jaja, your body, Jaja.
No.
Jaja, your body, Jaja.
No.
Jaja, your body, Jaja, baby. Jaja, your body, Jaja.
Well,
Jaja, your body jaja. Jaja, your body jaja. Jaja, your body jaja.
I saw your love give me fever. All the time you come and the shiver. Now you be the one, just believe it. La diva, my diva. Oh, you turn Batman to Cena with your sexy body Carolina. For your love I go fight like John Cena. Hata kama nikiwa nguvu sina, kupe kila kitu mchana kwa usiku, tufanye mavitu baby, mavitu, kupe kila kitu mchana kwa usiku, tufanye mavitu baby, vitu baby, so take it slow na pa wine.
Jaja, your body jaja. Jaja, your body jaja.
No.
Jaja, your body jaja.
No.
Jaja, your body jaja, baby. Jaja, your body jaja. Jaja, your body jaja. Jaja, your body jaja. Jaja, your body jaja, baby.
I hope you know say this is say where you carry for back it they make me the quick baby quick kankupake wese nese zamendani na rungu komredi kipepepe ooh la la la, your body fine, now when you whine you blow my mind. Ooh la la, I don't wanna waste your time, so please be nice, so make your mind. Ooh la la, kissing in the rain, fall from the morning till the night. Ooh la la la, la 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 la, kupe kila kitu mchana kwa usiku, tufanye mavitu baby, mavitu, kupe kila kitu mchana kwa usiku, tufanye mavitu baby, vitu baby, so take it slow na pa wine.
Jaja, your body jaja. Jaja, your body jaja.
No.
Jaja, your body jaja.
No.
Jaja, your body jaja, baby. Jaja, your body jaja. Jaja, your body jaja. Jaja, your body jaja. Jaja, your body jaja, baby.
All right, we are back. That was Jeje by Diamond, and of course I knew that song really, really well. What do you mean, Baron? All right, moving on. Oh, this is a story that's gonna hit a bit of sore nerves for some people, but we have to talk about it. Baron, did you hear about Babangida's statement last week?
No.
You didn't? Oh, you know who Babangida is, right?
Oh yeah. Okay, the statement about him
regretting
the elections in the 93.
Okay, so Nigeria's ex-military leader Babangida for the first time has admitted regret over the cancelled elections. Let's talk about it. Nigeria's ex-military ruler General Ibrahim Babangida has expressed deep regret for the first time for annulling the result of the 1993 presidential election. The poll was supposed to bring an end to military rule after 10 years, and the cancellation of the outcome threw the country into turmoil. The date of vote, 12th of June 12, is now remembered in Nigeria as Democracy Day. General Babangida was forced to resign. Moshood Abiola, widely believed to have won the election, was later imprisoned and his wife was assassinated. Nigeria's current president, Bola Tinubu, said General Babangida has shown courage by admitting what took place. The former military leader, 83, expressed his regret at the launch of his autobiography, A Journey in the Service, in the capital, Abuja, last week. Undoubtedly credible, free and fair elections were held on 12 June 1993, he told the audience, made up of the cream of Nigerian society, including Tinubu, two former presidents, Olusegun Obasanjo and Goodluck Jonathan, and two other ex-military leaders, Abdulsalam Abubakar and Yakubu Gowon. However, the tragic irony of history remains that the administration that devised a near-perfect electoral system and conducted those near-perfect elections could not complete the process. That accident of history, I can get through this, is most regrettable. The nation is entitled to expect my expression of regret. General Babangida, popularly known as IBB, also acknowledged that Abiola, who died in 98, won the election. However, in 93, as elections were being collated, the military government abruptly stopped the process, an action that triggered widespread protests and a political crisis. For 3 decades, the circumstances surrounding the 93 election have been shrouded in controversy, with conflicting accounts emerging over time. This new administration, seen as reopening old wounds, has triggered fresh debates rather than closure. Many people will be expecting the former military ruler to also provide answers to some questions relating to his policies at the time. General Babangida, who overthrew another military leader, Muhammadu Buhari, in 85, led the country for 8 years. Multi-party democracy did eventually return to Nigeria in 99 with the election of Obasanjo. Okay. You had to have been there. Were you there, Baron?
I wasn't there.
You had to have been there. I was there. You had to have been there. This was a moment in time that it shattered all illusions. Like I think it took all my magical thinking. When you're a child and you have like stars in your eyes, you still believe in everything. And this thing that happened in 93 broke that. It really broke that innocence and hope or belief in the system, It was a wonderful election period. We'd had military leaders before. We had military leaders. And this was the first time as a teenager we had seen the process, the democratic process of, the elections, the campaigning, all the adverts. The political adverts were amazing. The billboards, Tofa is tougher. Tofa is tough. Who even talks about TOFA these days? So TOFA is TOFA, IBB, and then my parents were receiving so many invitations to different parties and fundraisers and all kinds of really, really bougie parties to raise money for Abiola. And they had, the songs on the radio, no, Mashoud, all amazing advert, amazing campaign songs, and it was beautiful. And we just waited. We couldn't vote. We were just teenagers, but we saw the process, and then the elections happened and people voted, and it was beautiful, and we had hope, and it was going to be wonderful. And out of nowhere, he just said, no, we're canceling it. It was as if something just shattered. A glass ball we were all carrying just fell on the ground and shattered. I will never forget this. That's why I will never forgive it. I don't care what he's regretting it. He should be in jail. Like, if he's regretting it and he did, then he should be in jail. I don't care if he's 83. He broke the country, and it launched us into crisis for real. It was, what's going on? What's going to happen? What now? Why? There was so much why. Why? And they never really gave a reason why. 30 years later, he's saying he deeply regretted it was an accident of history. You did it. Imagine the nerve of saying it was an accident of history, just like that. That's the reason. And that, he deeply regrets it. I'm going to say a bit more, but Baron, tell me what you think about, were you even born in 93? And what were you were you aware of anything? And what have you heard about this, and what do you think about his admission?
So I was born much later in 93. However, growing up, I got to learn a bit about history, and also
June 12th.
Yeah. And then for someone to come out and first it was quite strange to see people that didn't used to see eye to eye in the same room celebrating and laughing. Like,
they don't care.
The current president, he actually went on exile because of this man.
Thank you. They don't care. Time passes enough. Politics makes strange bedfellows. It does. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Then him coming out to admit this like a crime. This is like treason. I'm not a lawyer, but this is something on that level. Mm-hmm. Shouldn't he be arrested on the spot?
Yes.
Why is the current president just celebrating him? Why are they raising funds for
his book?
Yeah.
It's what happens with the passage of time. You write a book, you get a presidential library, you wipe. But look at George Bush. In his time, he was reviled, hated. Now, years later, comparing him to Trump, Michelle Obama is hugging him. They're going for things together. People are like, it's not the guy who ruined Afghanistan. It's not the same guy who ruined Iraq. Sorry. I mean, what are we talking about? But with time, when somebody worse comes in, or with amnesia of time, people just forget. Or if you're successful enough in the future, or you're lucky enough to live long enough, then people kind of like, was he really that bad? Was he really that bad? But those of us who lived it in its time know exactly how bad it was. And for the youngsters at the time, we were the youngsters at the time, they stole something from us. I'm just going to put it that something was stolen from us, because to have that hope just taken away, and none of the adults were giving us answers. Nobody had answers. Our parents couldn't tell us what was up or explain it. The media couldn't do it. People were in the streets. There were protests. I remember everything because we were so happy because the process was so beautiful. It was so beautiful, Baron. It was so. I'm about to start crying because I remember this. I remember this. And this guy to come, he could have gone to his grave with this. He could have just shut up and gone to his grave. Nobody cares. He could have gone to his grave with this. He didn't have to say this. He could just have been that guy who canceled the elections and threw the country into crisis, and just they've forgiven him a long time ago. He didn't have to come out and say this. Because it's like an insult upon everything. And then this guy sitting with him and kicking and talking and laughing. It's an insult,
Also trying to sell the book as well to Nigerians.
Listen, if it's a book, everybody writes a book. That's normal. Every world leader after their time will write a book or open a library. That's normal. I don't care about that. But the people in attendance at the launch of that book is who I have an issue with. This one act he did. I know people respect IBB because of his I've had problems with family members who still respect him till today because he was very strategic. He was a godfather in his time. If you didn't go through him, you were not going to be successful. He was very, very strategic and very intelligent in the way he did things. But that does not cancel this one cardinal sin. This one cardinal sin that he committed. Because this sin put the country on the track to where we are today. Whether we like it or not, believe it or not, this sin he did where we are today is a direct result of what happened. Because let's think of an alternative path where the elections had stood and Abiola had become president and things had started ordering themselves, and we still kept that those things we had, those values and pride and things we had, and we built the country, and Abiola was allowed to do what he was supposed to do, and people supported him, and people's jobs were not in jeopardy, and the economy was better because Abiola was a very intelligent businessman, and so on and so on and so forth. Just imagine where we'd be today. Just imagine where we'd be today. So please spare me an accident of history quotes. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is someone that should probably even be on exile, not even coming out to launch a book.
There's something about him that people they just respect him regardless of what he did. They still respect him because they admire. It's like a Trump thing, where he's just a ridiculous person. Some people look at him and go, yeah, but he's a successful businessman and this and that and that. So therefore, he must be, they just blind themselves to all the other parts of him. It's the same thing here. Because he's intelligent and he's proven to be quite divisive, crafty and strategic, people admire that. So they see that and then they're ready to forgive everything else.
It's a very I don't want to say it's a very Nigerian thing, but it's because a lot of us
it's a world thing. A lot of us don't. It's a world thing.
And again, if the late Abacha was to be alive today, they'll probably celebrate him as well.
Oh, so Lord, please don't say that.
I won't be surprised.
Please don't say that. Please don't say that. Please. That's just too far. Oh my Lord. Right. So I will have to gather myself. Kimi, I'm not even going to bother asking. I don't even know anything about this situation at all. Do you know anything about Babangida or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
No, that's a no.
All right. Have some time, do some reading, and you'll probably find it super, super interesting. Just Google June 12, Nigeria, and then probably go down that rabbit hole. All right, guys. Let's calm down. We'll come back to. It's a positive show. Remember, it's a positive show. All things positive. So yeah, Baron, what song do you have for us to get us back in the positive vibes?
Let's go with Davido.
Oh.
Funds.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. Davido Funds. Enjoy.
Black for life, get me loud, dance at records, give me good song. It's you. Bad
Make I show you my bank account. Two-Face, I get it plenty to go around. So girl, make you dance when you hear this sound. Now we the poppy all over town. So tell me if you did down, did down. Do you know, say oh, me tick ball like go. Girl I know, some things that you do not know. Whether na traffic I be go slow. Baby, I promise I go still show. Spending money, Pablo. I suppose she locates, but I go buy Belgium. My money na alele, high pressure. But it's like she my balaba, put on for high tension. You must apply your tea, big boy, you must apply plenty. Mismanage my funds on you, all I really wanna do is
mismanage my funds.
mismanage my funds on you, all I wanna do is
Alright, okay. Tembro got off for the voltage. Tilapia, côté. Bring a goofy with the cocaine. Gobe, you see the bed, do not replay. Find a bacha for my brose. Conquer the streets, you see play.
I need your billing up party, all got the one. If I handle this your body, all got so. If you put me for palava, Njebolo if I like. What can a man, who I be fair, ego nembe. Complain, ego she say my baby, bam bam,
I suppose she locates, but I go buy Belgium. My money na alele, high pressure. But it's like she my balaba, put on for high tension. But you must apply your tea, big boy, you must apply plenty. Mismanage my funds on you, all I really wanna do is
Mismanage my funds.
mismanage my funds on you, all I wanna do is mismanage my funds on you, all I really wanna do.
I will mismanage my funds. You ain't the one that stop me.
I knew that one. We're playing Which Song Does Benny Know? Which song does Bibi know? That's what we're playing today. So yeah, I knew that one, you see. So Baron, she gave me a clap for that one. I knew that one. Okay. So going back to Africa, this time we're going to South Africa, and we're staying with the Trump administration as well. Yay! Right, did you hear about what's going on in South Africa with Trump and the white South Africans?
Yes, I heard a bit about that.
Right, so it's a double story, so everybody bear with me. We're going to read it, and then we're going to talk about it. So, white South Africans are gathering in support of Trump and his claims that they are victims of racism, and Trump has frozen aid to South Africa over controversial land laws, claiming discrimination against white farmers. The nerve of these people. Okay, let's talk about it. So US President Donald Trump signed an executive order last week aimed at freezing assistance to South Africa over a controversial law that allows the government to seize farmland from ethnic minorities, namely white farmers, without compensation, as well as the country's stance against Israel and its war in Gaza. Trump said in the order that the United States would no longer support South Africa with foreign aid if such policies, which he claims highlight a quote-unquote shocking disregard for its citizens and amount to human rights violations continue, ordering the US agencies to stop providing any aid to South Africa unless deemed absolutely necessary. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has previously denied that South African authorities were confiscating land and said his country was looking forward to working with the Trump administration over their land reform policy. Trump's order also directs the United States to assist Afrikaners, an ethnic group descended from European settlers in quote, who are fleeing South Africa due to discrimination, including helping them resettle in the US through refugee programs. And it's the policy of the United States that as long as South Africa continues these unjust and immoral practices that harm our nation, the United States shall not provide aid or assistance to South Africa. The United States shall promote the resettlement of Afrikaner refugees escaping government-sponsored race-based discrimination. I cannot read this, I'm sorry. This is ridiculous. Everything he says is ridiculous. Okay. Including racially discriminatory property confiscation, read the order. South Africa's foreign ministry called the order a great concern and said it lacked factual accuracy and fails to recognize South Africa's profound and painful history of colonialism and apartheid, adding that the move seemed to be a campaign of misinformation and propaganda aimed at misrepresenting our great nation. It's ironic that the executive order makes provision for refugee status in the U.S. for a group in South Africa that remains among the most economically privileged, while vulnerable people in the U.S. from other states of other parts of the world are being deported and denied asylum despite real hardship, the South African Foreign Ministry added. In the past, racist policies forcefully removed black and non-white South Africans from land for white people to use. There has been a land redistribution and restitution provision in the country's constitution since South Africa emerged from its apartheid era and held its first democratic elections in 1994. Unemployment and poverty, however, remain acute among black South Africans, who make up about 80% of the population and yet own a fraction of the land. In January, Ramaphosa signed a bill into law that sets forth new guidelines for land expropriation, including enabling the government to expropriate land without compensation in some cases. Trump also said that his order that South Africa has taken an aggressive stance against the United States and its allies through its position on Israel and reinvigorating ties with Iran. South Africa accused Israel of committing genocide on an unprecedented case at the United Nations top court, the ICJ, that's International Court for Justice. It said Israel's leadership was intent on destroying the Palestinians in Gaza and called for the law to order a halt to Israel's military campaign in the enclave. Ramaphosa spoke to Trump's first buddy and South African-born Elon Musk earlier last week on issues of misinformation and distortions about South Africa, emphasizing South Africa's constitutionally embedded values of respect for the rule of law, justice, fairness, and equality, and a government statement read that South Africa will not be deterred. We, as South Africans, are a resilient people and we will not be bullied. Okay, let's hold that in the left hand and let's come in the right hand and talk about the Afrikaners who are supporting Trump, okay? Then we'll put it all together. So, some white South Africans showed support for President Donald Trump this Saturday as they gathered at a U.S. embassy in Pretoria to claim that they are the victims of racism by their own government. Hundreds of protesters held placards that read, "Thank God for President Trump," etc., and displayed other messages criticizing what they see as racist laws instituted by the South African government that discriminate against the white minority. Many were from the Afrikaner community that Trump focused on in the executive order last week that cut aid and assistance to South Africa. South Africa does have a history of racist land inequality, just not in the way Trump and Musk are portraying. Trump said land was being expropriated from Afrikaners, which the order referred to as racially disfavored landowners, when no land has been taken under the law. Trump also announced a plan to offer Afrikaners refugee status, we said that, in the US, but they're only one part of South Africa's white minority. Okay? All right, so let's talk about it. First opinions, Baron. First opinions. What are your first opinions about all of this?
Interesting.
Irony is thick here.
So first, is Elon Musk South African or an American?
Oh, he's a South African. They're telling him every day that he's a South African, but he's in America causing havoc.
So why is yours in my face is like he's an American? Or is at the White House?
He's the richest man in the world. He wants to do whatever he wants.
Anyway, yeah. So at least now the South Africans have someone to fight. Not every time coming to drag Nigerians. So now they could go. They can go and fight Donald Trump and Elon Musk.
Oh my God! No, the irony of this whole thing for me is, for decades. So there was minority rule, right, in South Africa. So 80% black, I think 10% or 5% Asian and colored, and then 15% or so white. And the white were the ruling class for decades and decades and decades and decades. In my lifetime, South Africa became a democratic country in 94, okay? I saw it happen. So to say, and in all those years of minority rule, all the carding system, blacks couldn't go out of the townships. If you had gone out of the townships, you had to carry a card to say where you were going and when you're coming back. You couldn't intermarry. You couldn't do anything, okay? They were definitely the subclass, okay? And then suddenly now, then there's fight from all the world. There's pressure from all over the world, lots and lots of pressure on South Africa, and eventually it broke, okay? Apartheid was stopped, and they had democratic elections. All those while, all the land the Afrikaners had taken, not just Afrikaners, but not only Afrikaners, all the white settlers as well in South Africa, all the land they had taken from the blacks, okay, for the government had taken from the blacks forcefully and given to them, okay. Only a fraction of the land is owned by blacks. Black South Africans, and now they're trying to balance things out. They're not taking land from anybody else, just trying to balance things out and see how we can get. You're looking for land, how to make it much easier for you to get. If you're a black person and you want to farm or something, you have nothing. The government can make their policies, but the government can help you get some land, and they're twisting it willfully. This is what I don't understand. What I don't like about this administration. Everything they do is based on misinformation and lies, and they don't care. They're doing it openly. Musk he's so deep into this misinformation thing that he doesn't care anymore. It could be the biggest, most obvious lie, and they'll just tell it because, he's the richest man in the world, he's smart. What do you know? That's what his followers say. When he says horrible, horrible lies, his followers go, he's the richest man in the world, he runs 5 businesses, what do you know? And of course, we know Trump's followers, whatever he does, they'll follow him into anything, okay? So to say that to twist what the government of South Africa is trying to do to balance things out and say that now the white farmers are being discriminated against, it's just absolutely insane. It would be insane if it wasn't so ironic, So now they're freezing aid to South Africa because they're based on racist policies. Just the irony of it all is incredible.
Yeah, and again, they're also using the I don't know if you know that party, is it the economic freedom fighters?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they've used clips from those campaigns where they're singing about killing their chance. So I can't really say. So they're really
really mixing all. So taking one little bit here and then mixing and making to something else.
Yeah, I'm pushing with that. Yeah.
Yes, which is it's not. It's normal for fringe groups to want revenge or whatever you call revenge, but that's not what's happening here. And just the idea that, so now he's saying, so everybody's being deported from the US, okay? They're deport everybody. No, put a stop to all refugee relocation programs, all those programs that we're on, like the visa lottery and all that stuff. Stop. Birthright citizens, stop, everything, nobody. Oh, the poor, rich South Africans, because don't get me wrong, the Afrikaners, farmers who in South Africa are not some poor disenfranchised group who are suffering and they're being chased out and they just the clothes on their backs and they're no. They're very rich, very settled, would have land and everything. And now, if you want to come to America because, open the path for them to come to America. Trump keeps saying he's not racist, but if you're not racist, why do you keep doing racist things? If you're not racist, why do you keep doing racist things?
I have black friends, so I'm not racist. I have black people in my cabinet, so stuff like that.
Does he? I mean, it's unbelievable. And Elon Musk opening his mouth to talk things he knows, either he knows nothing about them or he's deliberately. I heard that he didn't get the Starlink for his company. He didn't get the license from South Africa because he didn't measure up to their own version of equality initiatives, their own version of DEI. His company doesn't measure up to it, so they didn't give him the contract. That's why he's turning his ire on South Africa. Oh, he's being bullied. Oh my God, he didn't get what he wanted from the South African government, and therefore he's going to destroy them through his friend Trump. As for the white protesters outside the embassy, seriously, don't you have any shame? They're the victims now. They're the victims now. They don't know the history of their people in South Africa. They're now the victims. Really? Really? It's too soon. Give it another 100 years. Maybe we're victim in 100 years. But it's too soon. Please.
Just give us a chance to forget first. That's if we
It's too soon. South Africa has worked so hard on reconciliation, you know, after apartheid. They were like, okay, no, we're not going to say you did this or you did this. You admitted you did it, because they did admit, okay, you did it. We did it and we're forgiven. Now we're now going to work together. We're going to be brothers in this country, whites, blacks, Asians. We're all going to work, and colored, sorry. We're all going to work together and build our nation. That's where they came from after apartheid ended. Rather than be bitter and want revenge, they decided to work together. Okay, has it been perfect? No. But the fact that they started on that particular foundation is an amazing thing. And it's been helping them in their race relations in their country. So this particular group of very bitter, you know, separatists or farmers or whatever it is they want to call themselves, who are trying to like portray like white South Africans are being bullied and being discriminated against in South Africa. Stop it, please, stop it. Kimi, do you know anything about South African history?
I only know a bit about apartheid, but no, not that much.
So what do you think about the white farmers saying that they're being discriminated against? I can't even say with a straight face.
It's a bit funny, yeah. Like, what? Like, that's just...
And they're being taken seriously by the government of the United States.
Yeah, I think they just want something to complain about, really.
And then they found some people who are going to listen.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The irony of it all. Yeah. The irony of it all. Do you see where they live, how they live? Have you seen how white South Africans live? Yeah, there's some poor ones, don't get me wrong. There's some poor ones and all that. And those ones, and then there's some separatists. You've heard of Irania and places like that where blacks are not allowed in. They have their own language, they want to speak Afrikaans. First of all, what are you doing in Africa? What are you even doing there? You're not even happy you're They've been there for 100 years or odd, right? Living the life of Riley. And now just a little thing is happening, suddenly they're the victims. It beggars belief. But here we find ourselves. Kim, what do you think the best outcome of this would be?
I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure.
Okay, all right. Elon and Trump. Yeah, you guys are doing great, buddies. Right, let's do a good news story before we do another. Let's do something good before we do another another song. What do you think? Yeah, right, yeah. Quick one. By the way, listeners, if you've heard anything you want to join in, don't forget, you can join. You can call the studio live. You can jump on right now. The number is 0141 530 2787. 0141 530 2787. Or if you want to leave your comment on the YouTube page, we'll read it out. Afrobeat star, Ira Star, she's become the first woman to win the Best African Music Award in 16 years. First woman in 16 years to win it. Isn't that brilliant? Did you hear that?
That's interesting.
At the mobiles.
I had no idea.
Yeah. So Afrobeat superstar Ira Star has won the award for Best International Act this year at this year's Mobile Awards that just happened last weekend. The British award that honors achievements across music of black origin. Her feat breaks the 16-year jinx, as many female acts from Africa have not gotten the awards in all this time. Star triumphed in a star-studded category over nominees like Tyler, American artists like Kendrick Lamar and Meg Thee Stallion, and two-time Grammy winner Thames. Star is coming off a year where she released her sophomore album, The Year I Turned 21, with 2 Grammy nominations in her kitty. And remarkably, she has performed globally, touring the album and, performing at prestigious festivals like Glastonbury. And she's set to support Coldplay on this stadium tour this year. Very, very cool. Ira's Mobile Award win is the latest sign of validation of the Nigerian singer on her path to greatness. Over the years, Nigerian singers have made their mark at the Mobile Awards. Two-Face Idibia became the first Nigerian to win the Best African Act category. German-Nigerian musician Neka took the award for Best International Act in 2009. D'banj won the Best African Act in 2012. Wizkid won Best International Act in 2016. And Davido won Best African Award in 2017. And Burna Boy in 2020. So 2024, Ashake won Best African Act, and so on and so forth. So yeah, we've been showing up at the mobiles. However, a woman hasn't won it in 16 years, and she has won International Act, not just Best African Act, but Best International Act, which is really, really cool. So yeah, Ira is doing great. I thought it would be Tyler, actually, if you think about it. But yeah, this is pretty cool. Yeah, what do you think about this? Do you think it's important that a woman won it, or you think it's just cool regardless?
I think it's fine. It's good. It's good to see the Nigerian sister win. So now we're back to the scoreline.
Yeah, let's go.
Nigeria 1, South Africa 0. So you guys have to keep up.
Alright, we've made peace. You're the only one who is still carrying this fight. We've all made peace. So we spoke about it. We had dinner. We made peace.
I don't want peace.
But the thing that happened is still hurting you. We've talked about it. Our South African brothers and sisters, we're all on one side now. No? Okay. Kimi, do you follow music? Do you follow Afrobeat? Do you follow Amapiano? Are you a music fan?
Me and my cousin, whenever I go back to Kenya, we always play Ira Star. We always
Okay. Are you a Tyler fan as well? Or?
Yeah. She's all over TikTok as well. So
yeah, she's beautiful. They're both beautiful.
Yeah.
They're both beautiful. What do you think about Ira winning the Best International Act 1 and also being the first woman in 16 years to win it?
Well deserved, but 16 years is
crazy, right?
Yeah. Like it shouldn't have to be.
And the mobiles have tried. They've really stood on business all these years, haven't they? Because when they first started, people were like, what are the mobiles? But they've gained a lot of prestige over the years. So if you win one, it is something that people, think, okay, that's a big deal. That's something, especially in the UK here. Yeah, I'm happy for her. Let's see what else she has to do in the future. What more she can do. Did you hear about that whole thing, Baron, about her dancing to Naira Marley's song?
Yeah, so yes, I actually saw the video as well.
What do you think about that?
Marley's new single. After the whole thing that happened with Mobile,
I don't think that was a good idea.
Yeah, some Nigerians have cancelled him.
Yeah,
but they've cancelled it and they've not really cancelled it because some people are still.
That's how it goes, isn't it? Yeah. But I think it's embarrassing. She shouldn't. Don't fall into that. Don't add your 2 cents into that because it's such a murky situation. We don't know what's real, what's not real. So don't add yourself into that if you can avoid it. You know?
Yeah.
I don't think it was a good decision on her path, but she lives her life for herself.
Yeah, now she needed a really good PR to get out of that.
Yeah, people were not happy at all. Okay, so speaking of, what song do you have for us after this?
Ira Star, Away. So
congratulations, Ira Star. This is Ira Star, Away.
Alpha, make you know they bother with me. Your father, what you wanna acquire with me? Stutter like him. I do not like it when you call me. When you been the flex with them girls up peace, you the flex. You can't the vex on top saying no one stress. Yeah. So when you gonna understand? You can never be the man I stand. You can never be the one for me. Take away your trouble and leave me be. Away. Understand I won't be the girl that used to cry about a man that never came through. He did lie all the time. Let's talk about a fool, yeah. Yeah, you're talking while you're dripping, yeah. You keep talking, so when you gonna understand? You can never be the man I stand. You can never be the one for me. Take away your trouble and leave me be. Away, 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 away. Take all your trouble. Away, 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 away. Take it, take it. Away, 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 away. Afa, tell me why you wanna call me when you know that you're not my type. This ain't gonna offend me. No need to explain, please. This ain't gonna offend me. Away, 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 away. Take all your trouble. Away, 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 away. Take it away from me. Away, away, away.
We're back. That was the absolutely beautiful and extremely talented Ira Star with the song Away, and we were just celebrating her win for Best International Act at the Mobos last weekend, and she became the first woman in 16 years to win the Best International Act, beating out Kendrick Lamar, Thames, and Tyler to get to that particular award. So congratulations to Ira Star. Right, now we're jumping into our travel segment. And rather than do one country today, we're just starting out the new year. So we're going to do the top 10 countries that were traveled to last year in 2024. Top 10 African destinations, the most visited countries in Africa 2024. And Baron's going to put a picture on the screen anytime now. So let's begin. Africa has become a growing hub for tourism. We know that with Desert December and all of that. With its diverse landscapes, rich cultures, and historical landmarks attracting millions of visitors annually. And according to the UN Tourism Barometer, Africa welcomed 6% more tourists from January to September 2024 compared to the same period in 2019. In 2024, several African countries stood out as the country's most visited destinations, each offering unique experiences to travelers. With many African governments investing heavily in promoting their tourist attractions, the continent is poised to see continued growth in tourist arrivals over the years to come. So let's check out the 10 most visited countries in Africa. Before we do, what do you think, guys, is going to be the number one visited country in Africa? Before we start, what do you think?
As for last year?
For last year.
It's going to be Nigeria. Lagos.
No, it was not. No.
It has to be Lagos.
It cannot be. 30 December does not count for the whole year of tourism. Okay.
The whole year. Okay, but for December,
look at the confidence. It has to be Nigeria.
But for December, I go to Lagos because every time you turn to social media, I'm going to Lagos. Like, I was there. Like, what's going on in Lagos?
I saw people crying in their cars when they came back, saying, "I'm back, and it's so rainy." And just last week, someone was carrying my bag in Nigeria, and I was on the beach, and now and they're crying in their cars. I'm like, what is going on? Kimi, do you know anything about Dirty December? Anyway, okay.
She doesn't.
She doesn't. Okay, so you say Nigeria.
Okay, so let me
number
revise.
one most visited country in Africa.
Let me revise. So it has to be could be. It's going to be like in East Africa. It has to be there.
Okay.
So,
Kimi, what about you? What do you think is the most visited country in Africa? Oh, she can hear me. She can't hear me.
I'm gonna say Kenya because I'm Kenyan. So
everybody's repping their own country.
Yeah.
All right. Let me not keep you in suspense anymore. Should I start from number 10 or should I start from number 1? What do you guys think? Let's start from number 10. Okay, let's start from number 10. So number 10 was Seychelles. Okay, Seychelles. So Seychelles continues to be a top choice for travelers seeking luxury and natural beauty. With its pristine beaches, vibrant coral reefs, and secluded islands, the archipelago is a magnet for honeymooners and eco-tourists alike. Okay, we've done Seychelles on the show before. We've shown all the beautiful sights and all the things to do, so you all know, you're all up to date on Seychelles. And if you want to go there, It's something I think I have on my list to go. Number 9, Rwanda. Yeah, Rwanda has emerged as a leader in ecotourism, attracting visitors to its famed gorilla trekking experiences in Volcanoes National Park. And beyond wildlife, the country's clean cities and scenic landscapes, such as Lake Kivu, have helped solidify its reputation as a must-visit destination. All right? Number 8. You have Algeria. So Algeria is gaining recognition for its unique offerings, including vast stretches of the Sahara Desert and a well-preserved Roman ruins like those in Timgad and Jemila. And the country's rich blend of Mediterranean and North African cultures provide an enriching experience for visitors. Provided an enriching experience for visitors in 2024. Number 7, you have Mauritius. So Mauritius maintained its allure as a premier island destination. Yes, we've done Mauritius on the show before as well. Pristine beaches, turquoise lagoons, and luxury resorts make it a haven for honeymooners and families as well. Adventure seekers also explored its lush hiking trails and underwater activities such as diving and snorkeling. Number 6, this is for Kimi, Kenya. So Kenya's iconic Masai Mara, famous for its annual Great Migration, continues to draw wildlife lovers and photographers. In addition to its safaris, Kenya's cultural heritage and coastal destinations such as Diani Beach and Mombasa added to its appeal in 2024. Number 5, you have Tanzania. Known for its unparalleled wildlife experiences, Tanzania attracted nature enthusiasts from around the globe, and the Serengeti National Park and Ngorongoro Crater offer breathtaking safaris, while Mount Kilimanjaro and the idyllic beaches of Zanzibar provide diverse adventures for all types of travelers. Sounds amazing. All right, number 4, you have Tunisia. Tunisia remains a favorite for its sun-soaked Mediterranean beaches, ancient ruins, and charming medinas. The country's affordability and proximity to Europe continue to attract tourists, while historical sites like the Carthage and amphitheater in El Jem provide a glimpse into its glorious past. Okay, now the top three. What do you guys think the top 3 are going to be?
Nigeria is there, definitely.
No, I can clear that for you just now. No, Nigeria is not there.
How? Okay,
because once again, say it with, I'll hold your hand when I say this.
Okay,
Death in December does not count as all year round tourism. Okay, I know it sounds like it does, but it does not.
But December is part of the year.
We can do a December based travel.
December is part of the year.
It doesn't count.
So is Africa there?
Wait. Okay, number 3, South Africa.
Oh, okay.
So number 3, South Africa. South Africa's diverse attractions, from its iconic Table Mountain to thrilling safaris in Kruger National Park, drew millions of tourists in 2024, not hundreds of thousands. Visitors also enjoyed vibrant cities like Cape Town and Johannesburg, rich cultural experiences, and scenic coastline drives along the Garden Route. When they stole the country, they stole the whole country. They stole it really well. I love what they did with the stealing. Number 2, Egypt. For some reason, Egypt remains a powerhouse for African tourism, attracting 15 million tourists in 2024. I'll say that again, 15 million tourists. Known for its historical landmarks such as the pyramids of Giza, the Sphinx, the treasures of the Nile, Egypt continues to captivate history enthusiasts. The Red Sea's coral reefs and luxurious resorts have also played a significant role in maintaining this appeal to international tourists. And get ready with a drum roll, please. The number 1 tourist destination in Africa in 2024 was Morocco. Of course it was Morocco. Did you have any idea it wouldn't be Morocco? Come on.
I didn't have the idea, but yeah.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
But I think the list is rigged.
Yeah, okay. We're going to do a December-based race just for you. Just for
me.
Yes. So leading the list, Morocco welcomed an impressive, are you ready for this? 17.4 million tourists in 2024. That's crazy. Renowned for its vibrant markets, historic cities such as Marrakesh and Fez, and breathtaking desert landscapes, Morocco has cemented its position as a global tourist hotspot. The country's cultural festivals and world-class hospitality make it a favorite among travelers seeking a blend of tradition and modernity. A recent report by Bloomberg highlighted how Morocco surpasses North African neighbor Egypt to clinch the top spot, with the country set to host the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations from December 21 this year. It anticipates another surge in visitors. Also, it has a dirty December coming up in Morocco. Also, as a co-host for the FIFA World Cup alongside Spain and Portugal in 2030, Morocco projects receiving 26 million tourists, a 50% increase from 2024. My God. That was exciting, wasn't it? Kimmy, Morocco was going to be number one? Well, you said Kenya before, but were you thinking about Morocco at all?
Or not, like 5 of my cousins last year went. So
my next door neighbor, and this person and that person, this person and that person. So Morocco is like that guy.
Yeah, and this one has gone this year already. So
you've gone.
No, this one has gone there this year already.
Exactly. They don't play around because you can do the traditional things and the foods and you can do modern things as well. So it's a great combination. Although most tourism is like that, to be fair. But for some reason, Morocco has a chokehold on on African tourism. I don't know what it is. Exciting. If I was thinking of going somewhere, probably Morocco as well. But I would definitely try Mauritius or Seychelles because everyone who's been there is just going, oh my God, it's incredible. Oh my God, it's incredible. So...
yeah, I mean, I just want to go to Zanzibar next.
Zanzibar is good as well, but I won't want to go to only Zanzibar if I did Tanzania. I want to be mix it up a little bit. Okay, so that was African travel. We're gonna have this is the end of part 1, guys. We're gonna come back in part 2, just for you live, and we have lots more stories, spotlights, and everything else. In the meantime, Baron's gonna keep on giving us his amazing songs. And what's the next one, Baron?
So next one we'll go to Ghana is Bisak Day and it's Jwe.
Jwe. Okay, that's Bisak Day and Jwe. Enjoy.
So them and I will buy more good. That's how your dream has go move. Go. What's your baby? Now I didn't number. Now who do be no? Over and go. So maybe I was that day. I said, when it's so move. Did you remember when I was boss? Very well. I say, you with mommy, miss it, what dream. Why would you live in no? That's a wood, that's happening. The way you would have, the way no bad, the way you would have, the way no bad. What's about it, man? No bees about it, nana. Guys, I ain't dogga. Not so bad, garbage, so mama. So when him so bad to be winning, and yet he moves a gaza. That's a water. Yamagoni Munya dinner will be until now when he is. And your mommy, I want him to crack a Tony Diano. And it's how when you're galebi, and now what you are brand to be a young boy be and a young girl be a vessel. And no son who wants some kind of dimba in the castle. Say young girl be a sino, young boy be a kuto. Say young girl be a sino, young boy be a cano. Hey, I'm going to so what's your say? One is our baby, but somewhere be and go by more boy. That's how your dream.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show. It's part 2, and we're still here. We're still here with BB on BB's African News Magazine show on Jambo Radio. So, part 1, what do you talk about? Coup, election canceller declarations, USA freezes, rich South Africans trying to become refugees, Aerostar, and all this weirdness. We're trying to find the positive in everything. It is a positive show. I assure you it's a positive show. But sometimes the news just...
Yeah, because we don't live in a fairy tale.
No, but we are finding the positive. Always positive. It is a positive show. I have to keep reminding myself it is a positive show. All right, seriously, but really on a positivity note, it's now time for African Spotlight, which we love. Every week we focus on a good news or interesting story from the diaspora, from the continent, on someone doing amazing things in their community. And this week we're shining our spotlight on the over 500 people from the Black diaspora who were granted Ghanaian citizenship recently. Did you hear about that? Yay!
No.
Oh, I'll tell you all about it. Kimmy, did you hear about it? You want to hear all about it?
Oh, but I'm very interested.
Yeah, let's hear about it. Okay, so a historic moment unfolded at the Jubilee House last Tuesday when 500 members of the African diaspora were officially granted Ghanaian citizenship. The event, the third of its kind under President Nana Akufo-Addo's administration, celebrated the enduring bond between Ghana and its global diaspora. President Akufo-Addo described the event as a significant milestone in reconnecting the African diaspora with their ancestral roots. Addressing the new citizens, President Akufo-Addo highlighted the emotional and historic significance of the occasion, saying, "Your ancestors left these shores in circumstances that were tragic and humane, and today we embrace you as our own, as fellow citizens of the nation, and as part of the Ghanaian family." The president emphasized that being Ghanaian went beyond holding a passport. It's about embodying values such as respect, equity, and peace. These are the principles that define us as a people, and we invite you to make them your own as you integrate into our society, he said. The president recounted the success of the Year of the Return, which saw hundreds of thousands of people visiting Ghana and rekindling ties with Africa. The initiative sparked a global conversation about the African diaspora's role in the continent's future and laid the groundwork for deeper connections. President Akufo-Addo expressed optimism about the contributions the new citizens could make to Ghana's development. Your skills, your knowledge, and experiences from all over the world will enrich our nation. Whether in education, healthcare, technology, or the arts, you have the potential to drive Ghana's growth, he said. The president also acknowledged the role of the diaspora in reshaping the global perceptions of Africa. Your human bridges connecting us across the Atlantic. Your presence dispels misconceptions and tells a new story of unity, pride, and potential. Citing the words of Marcus Garvey and Peter Tosh, Akufo-Addo reminded the new citizens that of the shared heritage that unites all people of African descent. Africa is your home, and Ghana welcomes you with open arms. This is more than a ceremony, it's a reaffirmation of our collective identity and destiny. The government, he said, will remain committed to making Ghana a welcoming and vibrant home for the diaspora. Policies to support investments, collaborations, and community building initiatives are already in place, reflecting the administration's dedication to strengthening ties with Africans abroad. The ceremony was part of an ongoing initiative that began the Year of the Return in 2019, commemorating 400 years since the first enslaved Africans were transported to the Americas. According to government figures, at least 1,500 African Americans have moved to Ghana since 2019, and that year the West African's economy generated a total of $1.9 billion through activities related to the Year of the Return. Some of the activities contributed to the figure included air travel, hotel accommodation, transport fare, as well as other key entertainment events. For example, Kiacha Bowers, who's among the 524 African diasporans granted Ghanaian citizenship, relocated to Ghana from Florida in 2023 with her family. She told the press that getting citizenship is more than just living in Ghana. I didn't need citizenship to tell me I'm African. Anywhere I go in the world and someone looks at me, I'm melanated. But my ancestors who wanted to return and come back home, those ancestors never made it back. That passport for me is for them. Aww. What do you guys think? It's cool, huh? What Ghana is doing. Nigeria to get visa wahala, and yet Ghana is saying, come over, come on, you're black, come on. What do you think?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. What Ghana is doing is good. And then if you look at it from the other side, I hope this is not a case to, because it's trending now. It's trending to identify as African, and then get the Ghanaian passport, because a lot of people are doing it. I hope that's not just a thing. I hope they are really.
You think just a trend? But I mean, in 2019
Africans.
that started. So the year of the return was a big deal in 2019. He made a big deal. They all came over and all that. And if you want to, he basically said, if you're black, come over, and we'll take care of you. Come over. If you want to start a business, we'll help you. You want to, accommodation will help you. Just because you get citizenship, if that's what you want to do. If you're black from anywhere in the world and you have any kind of African ancestry at all, come over. And a lot of people answered the call. So now he wants to do it, I think every year, every couple of years, he's doing it again. This is the third time they've done it. And this is 500 people at once. It's an incredible thing. It's just, like you said, I hope it's not a trend and all that. But people have moved and are living in Ghana,
Yeah, come over and bring money.
Bring money, investments,
and Trump
all that
as well. Yeah, come
exactly.
over, bring your money.
And listen, if what's his name? Trump is saying white South Africans can come. If you're white and you're South African and you're white, come over to America. So if you're black,
everyone's moving.
Oh my goodness! What do you think, Kimmy? Do you think it's a good idea? It's a good initiative, for the country as well as for the continent? What do you think?
I think it's like really sweet as well. Like it seems very emotional too. It feels like there's a building of community there as well.
I think the idea that, I don't know if it's a fine line when you say anybody black. It starts to feel a bit but I think the idea that if you have African roots or African heritage and that's different than just saying anybody black. You know what I mean? Or do you think there's a difference in the two kind of type of things?
I don't know. I think there's always been like a divide between Africans and like black people, like in America and stuff. But I don't know.
And with the internet, it's getting worse. There's some people are really trying to hold on to that. Oh, we're not black, we're this. Or we're only black Americans. We'll talk about this another time. But there's this whole movement of only Americans can be black, and that is a very dangerous path to go down on. But yeah, I think it's a great thing that people coming and actually moving over and finding it easy to start life and business and education. Why not? Why, if they can do it, why not? And it was very emotional for those people who are getting citizenship. It was, like you said, it must be quite emotional for them as well. It's interesting. Okay. All right. So, question for the week. What do you think about the Return to Africa initiatives that Ghana is doing? Are they positive, or do you think there'll be cultural clashes? That's the question of the week. What do you think about the Return to Africa initiative that Ghana has begun? Do you think it's a positive thing for the continent, or do you think there'll be cultural clashes? Baron, do you have an opinion on that?
I think it's good because they wouldn't do it if they didn't have good intentions, at least for Ghana, because those people will come in with money as well. It's good.
But do you think some
and also
people...
the people moving should also embrace the culture as well, because you can't just come and then
try to be lorded over, like what happened in Liberia when they arrived.
So you come in, embrace the culture, embrace the food as well, everything. When we wake up one, anyway, let me not say, because it's going to be like our
you're a professional hater. Yeah. Do you remember? I was going to say what happened in Liberia. You know what happened in Liberia when the Black Americans relocated back, and then they became the lords of the land, and then they almost basically enslaved the local people. And for decades, the local people weren't allowed to vote.
I don't know about that.
That's what caused the civil war, because there's that divide, there's that societal divide. So they wanted to go back to Africa initiative, and then they brought them back. But they came back with all the opinions and all the behaviors of colonialists. So there were Black Americans who came back to Liberia, but they're dressing like Europeans, and then they had servants and slaves from the local people. They built colonial houses and all that, and they set up their election system, and when they didn't allow the local people to vote or anything, took land. They basically became what had happened to them.
The masters
in America. They brought, and they became that thing that happened to them. It's crazy. And eventually when people rose up in about, 50 years, 60 years later, there was a devastating civil war. Devastating civil war. So human beings, we're not really, every victim is just the villain in waiting.
Yeah, true.
I don't know if that's like controversial to say, but I think that sometimes, but I think it's a good thing as long as they don't try to like lord it over the local people when they come with their American accents or their whatever accents and their money, and they make and they create a situation where there's harmony, But there will be some cultural clashes, but I don't think if everybody has good faith, it should work. What do you think?
Yeah. So, we are still here. We'll see how it goes, how it develops.
Right. So, listeners, that was the question of the day. What do you think about the Return to Africa initiatives by Ghana? Do you think it's positive, or do you think there will be cultural clashes? Don't forget to call us, email us, or write a comment on the page, and we will read it out. Or if you want to call it to your live, it's 0141 530 2787. And while we wait for your calls, here is.
So we going back to East Africa, Salty Soul with Susanna.
Okay, Salty Soul and Susanna. Enjoy. See you in 2.
Susanna, I hope you're happy now. I see you flexing on the ground with your sponsor. Susanna, I hope you're happy now. I see you change your skin color and your hair is longer now. Na kuona bali hapo kando ya Champs-Elysees, ukitesa na kamini none of my business. And I see you in London, silicone on your mama, shaking what your doctor gave ya, on your worst behavior, Susanna Vande. If you got to hear this song, somebody loves you. Susanna Vande, hello, change your mind and come back home. Somebody loves you. Tabia shepu ni majaliwa, ila wengi walinyimwa tabia na shepu kabarikiwa. Mwanamme hisia, pesa ni majaliwa, ila wengi walinyimwa hisia na pesa kabarikiwa. Na kuona Brazil, hapo Rio de Janeiro, ukiongezewa nywele senje, none of my business. And I see you in China with the latest designer, shaking what your doctor gave you, on your worst behavior, Susanna Vande. Hello. If you get to hear this song, somebody loves you. Susanna Vande. Hello. Change your mind and come back home. Somebody loves you.
Aisenje nakosa usingizi usiku kucha mina dua. Aisenje akilini moyoni bado we wanizuzua. When are you coming home Senje? Tell me are you on your way? Kife tukipendana Kiromeo na Julia. Aisenje nakosa usingizi usiku kucha mina dua. Aisenje akilini moyoni bado we wanizuzua. When are you coming home, Senje? Tell me, are you on your way? Tufe tukipendana, Kiromeo na Julia. I Senje Vande, Senje. Hello.
If you get to hear this song,
Senje, come
somebody
on.
loves you.
Oh,
Senje. Hello. Change your mind and come back home. Somebody loves you.
Exclusive from justniger.com.
That was Susanna by Salty Soul, always amazing group. We're just talking about waiting for your calls to talk about your opinions on the question of the day. We're talking about the Return to Africa initiatives that Ghana have instituted, and they just gave about 500 people from the Black diaspora citizenship in Ghana, expecting them to, contribute to bring some investments, bring some knowledge, bring some culture, add themselves to the local culture, and just become just part of the African Brotherhood, the International African Brotherhood, and settle in Ghana. Amazing initiative by Ghana, and maybe other Nigerian and other African countries will do the same. But for now, Ghana is the one who's leading the charge. So the question of the day was, what do you think about the Return to Africa initiatives? Are they positive? And will they bring some cultural clashes? Baron is of the opinion that it's a good thing, but we have to be careful and make sure that people who are coming to live in Ghana are ready to integrate and ready to join the local culture, as well as bring some investment with them. And Kimi is just happy and thinks it's an emotional thing. It's a very good thing, and it's something that will bind the African diaspora together. And what do you think? So if you have any opinions on that as well, the number is 0141 530 2787, 0141 530 2787, or you can leave a comment on the YouTube page, we'll read it out, or the Facebook page, and we'll read it out. Okay, let's do some announcements. So Police Scotland are looking for recruits. Are you looking for a job like no other, where you can support your community? Well, Police Scotland is recruiting police officers who want to make a difference to the people, places, and communities of Scotland. The skills you need to become a police officer might be the ones you have already. So if you think you have what it takes, search Police Scotland jobs to find out more. One more time, if you think you have what it takes and you'd like to join the Police Scotland, search Police Scotland jobs to find out more. Right, and moving straight on, we are going to have our Have You Heard segment. Oh, this is a very good one. You're going to love this one. So, now it's our Have You Heard segment, because every week we share an interesting development story or event from the diaspora. And today we're asking, have you heard that Africa's first caviar is surprising the luxury food industry? Have you heard that, Baron?
No, I've not.
Do you know what caviar is?
Nothing.
Come on. Kimi, you know what caviar is?
Oh yeah, so it's not the eggs
It's
from
fish eggs.
From
Beluga.
Fish.
From the sturgeon. It's from fish eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Kimi, you know caviar?
It's like really expensive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like 27,000 pounds for like a teaspoon or something like that. Something crazy. Yeah. So we have our own version now in Africa. You want to hear about it? Baron, why do you look so confused? All right, let's talk about it. Where it is, what they're doing, who came up with the idea, what it is, and how. Okay, let's do this. Have you heard? So, when Delphine Dabiz first announced her plans to launch Africa's first caviar manufacturer, some in the luxury food industry were incredulous. But now, 15 years since founding her company Asipensa, with its Rover and Casnoda caviar brands, Dabiez's products have made their way into some of the most prestigious kitchens in the world. High in the mountains of Madagascar, just east of the capital Antananarivo, Lake Mantosa has emerged as an unlikely source of this opulent ingredient. Every expert said it was impossible, said Delphine. Caviar is a delicacy made from the salted eggs of the sturgeon fish. Traditionally sourced from Russia's Caspian Sea, it gained luxury status in the 17th century after Tsar Alexei Mikhailovich I made caviar a state monopoly. Production soon spread around the world. With the establishment of Asipensa in Madagascar, caviar is now produced on every inhabited continent except Australia. Due to both its cultural significance and the long maturation period of the sturgeon fish, between 8 and 20 years, so it takes 8 and 20 years for the fish to mature enough to get the eggs, caviar can fetch prices as high as £27,000 for a teaspoon. Inspired by a television program on sturgeon farming in France, French trio Dabiz, her husband Christophe, and their friend Alexandre decided to pursue a similar project in their adopted home of Madagascar, where they're already working in the textile trade. Yay, settlers! Dabiz said they began without any knowledge of caviar production. Nobody in the beginning thought it was possible, and nobody wanted to help us. It took the arrival of retired sturgeon farming expert Françoise Rennes on vacation in Madagascar to help them get their project off the ground. And then one day, driving to the weekend house, they saw the lake. Lake Mantosa is situated at an altitude of approximately 1,400 meters in the Madagascan highlands, a temperate zone atypical for the tropics. It turned out to be absolutely the best environment to grow the sturgeon. Unlike the northern hemisphere, where low water temperatures can cause fish to stop growing, Lake Mantosa ranges between 13 and 23 degrees Celsius, allowing the fish to grow year-round. Consequently, Dabiz's fish mature around 2 years faster than their European counterparts. The culinary world was wary when Asipensa first produced its batch of premium Rover caviar, named after the historical Madagascan Queen's Palace in Antananarivo. In 2017. Madagascar is also known for its vanilla, not its fish eggs. At the beginning, it was difficult, she says. Everyone was laughing, it was a joke, but the only way to prove that the caviar is excellent is to taste it. The opportunity arrived when Europe's top chefs sampled the produce at the prestigious Culinary Expo in Lyon in 2019, and since then, Rover caviar has appeared on high-end menus around the world, including the 5-star Hotel de Crillon in Paris and Hotel du Palais in Biarritz. Here we have a caviar that's full of indulgence, said Julia Servien, who is the youngest ever chef to run a Michelin-starred kitchen in France, and who created a dish with Rover caviar for last December's La Ronde Tablée in Paris, and a grand gala dinner presented by non-profit La Tablée des Chefs. A caviar that could suit all palates with a buttery, brioche-like and hazelnut flavor on the finish. The caviar has proved popular in Africa too. Le Saint-Guéron Hotel in Mauritius and the Constance Lemuria and Constance Ephilia in Seychelles have all served it. For chefs now, it's a selling point to have caviar from Madagascar on the plate. Look at that. Rover's most Baron, sit down. We want to sit down for this part. Rover's most expensive product sells for around $12,000 per kilo. Per kilo. That's okay.
When I was starting fish farming,
it takes 20 years for the fish to mature, so we might not be young enough. Madagascar is one of the most biodiverse countries on Earth and is home to thousands of species found nowhere else in the world. Dabiz, along with Christophe and Guerriere, have lived there for about 30 years. It's given us a lot, she says, and the most important thing is that the business provides a profit to local people and to the country. Asipensa employs about 300 people, brilliant, and the company also provides training in fish farming and caviar production, offers medical coverage, literacy courses, and family planning education. Yay, settlers. It has recently been granted a lease by the government that will allow it to reforest and protect 200 hectares of hills around Lake Mantosa. Asipensa says it's taken steps to ensure the lake's sustainability, including restocking it to support local fisheries, installing a water monitoring system and facilities to prevent water pollution. And she finishes by saying, Madagascar is a unique place with incredible potential. We're proud to be part of its story and to share its treasures with the world. One more time, yay for settlers. Thank you so much for coming to our countries and telling us how to live and use our resources. Thank you so much. Okay, but on a more serious note, if they're contributing to the country's economy, who are we to judge? Are we contributing to the country's economy? We're not. Okay, so they are. They employ 300 people and they sell $12,000 for the kilo. Okay, they've made it. Right, what do you guys think? Did you ever think you're going to hear of African... First of all, you didn't even know what caviar was. You knew what caviar was, but you didn't know how expensive it was.
I just forgot. It's not something I get to see every time or read about every time. So I know. It's easily forget.
It's amazing. There's this black, I think. I think you get black caviar. You can get orange caviar, gold caviar. It's incredible. I've tasted sturgeon eggs, but I don't think you'll call it caviar, but I have tasted a version of caviar.
You have? How much was it?
I don't know. It was like you know how you have like a tin that is like the size of Vaseline. You know the Vaseline lip.
Yeah.
The lip tin, that size.
Yeah.
Or smaller than that. That's what I got. It's that tiny. You cannot just go around it like a tub of it, like tiny like that. Yeah, it was a gift. But yeah, it's delicious. Great. Kimi, have you had caviar before?
I don't have money for that.
Wait, you can be taken to a restaurant and, in the 80s, at the height of, the decadent, the 80s was like the decadent people, that was a thing. Like caviar was not on the menu, they haven't started and stuff like that. I think it went down a little bit in the 19th, but we're back. We're back. And Africa is now on the list as well. Why not? I like it. So I'll buy you guys some. Never. But if I ever happen to be in Madagascar, we'll check it out. Why not? I'm proud of them. I know they're not like originally African people and they're French people who moved there, but they've lived there for 30 years. If you've lived in a place for 30 years, you're from there. Okay? You're from there. They've lived there, they have business there, and they've put the country on the map, on the culinary map. So yeah, it's an African thing. I'm claiming that as one of ours. Yay, settlers. I should get a t-shirt that says yay, settlers. Okay. No more faffing about. Let's do this. You know what time it is, right? You know what time it is. It is time. You ready, Baron? The moment has arrived. It is time for our favorite part of the show, and that is a moment in African history. All right, everybody sit down. I'm going to tell you a story. This is no video today. It's going to be my voice. I'm going to be telling the story. Grab a cup of tea, grab a cup of coffee, relax, and just sit back and let's talk about this incredible story. It's a redo, and this is in honor of Black History Month, which is the American Black History Month. Our British Black History Month is in October, and the American Black History Month is February. So we're right in the middle of Black History Month. So we are going to be retelling the tale of the great escape from slavery of Ellen and William Craft. I was told a couple of years ago. I think we had a video on it, but now I'm going to tell it with my voice. Okay. You ready? Everybody ready?
Yep.
Okay. So, passing as a white man traveling with his servant, two slaves fled their masters in a thrilling tale of deception and intrigue. Okay, so most runaway slaves fled to freedom in the dead of the night, often pursued by barking bloodhounds. A few fugitives known as such as Henry Box Brown mailed themselves in a wood crate, and others devised clever ruses or stowed away on ships and wagons. However, one of the most ingenious escapes was that of a married couple from Georgia, Ellen and William Craft, who traveled in first-class trains, dined with the steamboat captain, and stayed in the best hotels during their escape to Philadelphia and freedom in 1848. Ellen, a quadroon, had very fair skin. She disguised herself as a young white cotton planting man with his slave, William. So Ellen, the wife, disguised herself as a white man, and her husband disguised himself as her slave, okay? It was William who came up with a scheme to hide in plain sight, but ultimately it was Ellen who convincingly masked her race, her gender, and her social status during their 4-day trip. Despite the luxury accommodations, the journey was fraught with narrow escapes and heart-in-mouth moments that could have led to their discovery and capture. Courage, quick thinking, luck, and our Heavenly Father sustained them. The Craft said in Running 1,000 Miles for Freedom, the book they wrote in 1860 chronicling the escape. Ellen and William lived in Macon, Georgia, and were owned by different masters. Put up for auction at age 16 to help settle his master's debts, William had become the property of a local bank cashier. A skilled cabinet maker, William continued to work at the shop where he apprenticed, and his new owner collected most of his wages. Minutes before being sold, William had witnessed the sale of his frightened and tearful 14-year-old sister. His parents and brother had met the same fate and were scattered throughout the South. As a child, Ellen, the offspring of her first master and one of his biracial slaves, had frequently been mistaken for a member of his white family. Much annoyed by the situation, the plantation mistress sent 11-year-old Ellen to Macon to her daughter as a wedding present in 1837. Yay, colonizers! Okay, where she served as a lady's maid. Ellen and William married, but having experienced such brutal family separations, despaired over having children, fearing that they would be torn away from them. The mere thought, William later wrote of his wife's distress, filled her soul with sorrow. Pondering various escape plans, William, knowing that the slaveholders could take their slaves to any state, slave or free, hit upon the idea of a fair-complexioned Ellen passing herself off as his master, a wealthy young man, white man, because it was not customary for women to travel with male servants. Okay? Initially, Ellen panicked at the idea, but was gradually won over. Because they were favorite slaves, quote unquote, the couple had little trouble obtaining passes from their masters for a few days' leave at Christmas time, giving them some days to be missing without raising alarm. Additionally, as a carpenter, William probably would have kept some of his earnings, or perhaps did odd jobs for others and was allowed to keep some of the money. Before setting out on 21st December 1848, William cut Ellen's hair to neck length. She improved on the deception by putting her right arm in a sling, which would prevent hotel clerks and others from expecting him, quote unquote, to sign a registry or other papers. Georgia had a law prohibiting teaching slaves to read or write, so neither Ellen nor William could read or write. Refining the invalid disguise, Ellen asked William to wrap bandages around much of her face, hiding her smooth skin and giving her a reason to limit conversations with strangers. She wore a pair of men's trousers that she herself had sewn, and then donned a pair of green spectacles and a top hat. They knelt and prayed and took a desperate leap for freedom. At the Macon train station, Ellen purchased tickets to Savannah, 200 miles away. As William took a place in the Negro car, he spotted the owner of the cabinet-making shop on the platform. After questioning the ticket seller, the man began peering through the windows of the cars. William turned his face away from the window and shrank in his seat, expecting the worst. The man searched the car Ellen was in, but never gave the bandaged invalid a second glance. Just as he approached William's car, the bell clanged and the train lurched off. Ellen, who had been staring out the window, then turned away and discovered that her seatmate was a dear friend of her master, a recent dinner guest who had known Ellen for years. Her first thought was that he had been sent to retrieve her, but the wave of fear soon passed when he greeted her with, "It's a very fine morning, sir." To avoid talking to him, Ellen feigned deafness for the next several hours. It's not funny. It's sad, but, you have to find the humor. In Savannah, the fugitives boarded a steamer ship for Charleston, South Carolina. Over breakfast the next morning, the friendly captain marveled at the young master's very attentive boy and warned him to beware of cutthroat abolitionists in the North who would encourage William to run away. A slave trader on board offered to buy William and take him to the Deep South, and a military officer scolded the invalid for saying thank you to his slave. And so many other things happened. In an overnight stay at the best hotel in Charleston, the solicitous staff treated the alien traveler with the utmost care, giving him a fine room and a good table in the dining room. Trying to buy steamer tickets from South Carolina to Philadelphia, Ellen and William hit a snag when the ticket seller objected to signing the names of the young gentleman and his slave even after seeing the injured arm. In an effort to prevent white abolitionists from taking slaves out of the South, slaveholders had to prove that the slaves they were traveling with were indeed their property. Sometimes travelers were detained for days trying to prove ownership. As the surly ticket seller reiterated his refusal to sign by jamming his hands in his pockets, providence prevailed. The genial captain happened by, vouched for the planter and his slave, and signed their names. The reason why they couldn't sign, couldn't sign? Because they couldn't read or write, so she was pretending to have a broken arm. Baltimore, the last major stop before Pennsylvania, a free state, had a particularly vigilant border patrol. Ellen and William were again detained, asked to leave the train and report to the authorities for verification of ownership. "We shan't let you go," an officer said with finality. "We felt as though we had come to the deep waters and were about to be overwhelmed." William recounted in his book, and they returned to the dark and horrible pit of misery. Ellen and William silently prayed as the officer stood his ground, and suddenly the jangling of the departure bell shattered the quiet. The officer, clearly agitated, scratched his head, surveying the sick traveler's bandages, and said to a clerk, "He's not well. It's a pity to stop him. Tell the conductor to let this gentleman and his slave pass." The Crafts arrived in Philadelphia the next morning, Christmas Day. As they left the station, Ellen burst into tears, crying out, "Thank God, William, we are safe." The comfortable coaches and cabins notwithstanding, it had been an emotionally harrowing journey, especially for Ellen, as she kept up multi-layered deception. From making excuses for not partaking of brandy and cigars with the other gentlemen, to worrying that slavers had kidnapped William, her nerves were frayed to the point of exhaustion. At a Virginia railway station, a woman had even mistaken William for her runaway slave and demanded he come with her. As predicted, abolitionists approached William, one advised him to leave that cripple and have your liberty, and a free black man on the train to Philadelphia urged him to take refuge in a boarding house run by abolitionists. Through it all, Ellen and William maintained their roles, never revealing anything of themselves to the strangers except a loyal slave and a kind master. Upon their arrival in Philadelphia, Ellen and William were quickly given assistance and lodging by the underground abolitionist network. They received a reading lesson their very first day in the city, and 3 weeks later they moved to Boston, where William resumed work as a cabinet maker and Ellen became a seamstress. About 2 years in 1850, slave hunters arrived in Boston intent on returning them to Georgia. So they had 2 years, and then slave hunters came to find them. The Crafts had to flee again, this time to England, dear old England, where they eventually had 5 children. After 20 years, they returned to the States, and in the 1870s, they established a school in Georgia for newly freed blacks. Isn't that the most amazing story you ever heard?
It is. It is almost look like almost like a movie, like someone disguising and then going.
The fact that she had to disguise her gender and her race, and the fact that she couldn't read or write, it's too much. She had to be a man, and she had to be a white man, even though she was a black woman. These things had to be done. So many things of all the slave. If slavery was so incredible, as they took care of their slaves and it was fine, everything was okay, and why do people keep trying to run away? Why do they keep trying to run away? You know, Kimi, what do you think of the story?
Because it's not. I mean, we don't know how. We just hear about the horrible things that went on at the time
at the plantations.
We don't. That I'm so happy that I wasn't born at that time.
Honestly, I would have been the worst slave ever. I've told you that before. Do this? No, I'm not doing it. No. Do you know who I am? I'm a Calabari girl. We don't do that. They would have been beating me every day.
Do this? No, you.
No.
You do it.
No. We don't do it in my place. They forbid it in my place. It's not funny, but you have to find the humor. It's not funny. It's a horrific time of history, but we have to find the humor. Yeah. Kimi, what do you think about this little slice of history, and the fact that things like that were necessary in the past?
I mean, we're still moving forward, aren't we, today? But it's good to remember and to know more about this stuff.
Do you think the Crafts were brave, or do you think they risked a lot trying to escape?
If it was me, I would have prayed like 500 times a day. That's stressful.
Yeah, extremely. And the fact that when they got to Georgia 2 years later, they came to find them to get, because that happened a lot back then. You'd escape to the north, and then you had bounties out. If you see that slave, return them to the south. They ran away and all that, and people would actually try to take you back. Some people tried to protect you. It was crazy, and they had to flee to England. And England was quite a safe haven at the time because they had abolished the slave trade at the time, and then people would flee to England and all of that, and crazy. But the fact they went back to Georgia, these people are brave. They went back to Georgia after like 20 years or so and lived, because that's home, right? We were a slave, but that's the South, that's home. And they went back there and they lived there. Incredible. Stories like this just make you realize you really have problems.
Yeah, we're living in good times, I guess.
Honestly, say what you want. All right, and that is it. That was our history story. I hope you loved it. We don't have time for our tongue twisters today, do we? We don't have time for tongue twisters.
It would be good to hear some Swahili.
Yeah. Kimi, how's your Swahili? Scale of 1 to 10. Is it good? 5, 4, 10?
-10.
No. All right. So if you're here next week, you have to prepare a proverb of some sort, a saying, anything. Oh, you have something?
She has one.
There's
Okay.
one that my mom always said.
All right. Okay.
It's I willilish I wallalos in Bolalanki lalalan the delele that alalai was bolalorn.
That is not Swahili. That
It's
is
not
Pig
in
Latin.
English, but she would always say that. She'd be like, "You don't know how to say this."
All right. We're only taking Swahili from next week. So think of something in, a saying, a common saying or a proverb or something, and you can share with us. Baron, same for you, for Ibibio. I'll do the same for Yoruba, and then we'll all meet together and we'll see where we go. One quick proverb before we go. We always try to do our African proverbs on the show to show that we're sharing knowledge and we're expressing ourselves in the ways we do. This is a Yoruba proverb. It says, "The child of an elephant will not be a dwarf." The child of an elephant will not be a dwarf. Okay?
Lion not the born good.
Jerusalem.